You're watching the station that works for you. Now, ABC 2 News at 6.
A new bill could hold drug dealers accountable for any sale that leads to an overdose death of a minor. Straight ahead, hear from some of the supporters pushing for this new law.
Another blow for our city. Baltimore is named the most dangerous city in the country, but the mayor says the violence has been trending downward for months.
Plus, have you ever thought about what restaurants do with leftover food at the end of the day? Well, one app is connecting that food to volunteers to help them feed the hungry.
All right, good evening and welcome into ABC 2 News at 6 with Mallory Safaste. I'm Jamie Costello. The opioid epidemic claimed 1,500 lives in our state in the first 9 months of last year.
The state is implementing a number of strategies to reduce deaths, and Harford County Sheriff was in Annapolis today advocating for a new one. He wants harsher penalties for drug dealers that distribute opioids in the death of a minor. Unlike some cases, the Joneses got to see the dealer sentenced. The family says he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The term was reduced to 3 years. The Judiciary Committee listened to testimony on the bill this afternoon.
Well, police have identified the victim in a deadly double shooting that happened last night in Baltimore. Investigators say it happened inside a barber shop here on Eastern Avenue in Highlandtown. 2 people were hit. Andreas Tamaris was the one who was killed. And after the shooting, 2 suspects took off. And in a separate case, police have identified Sean Sewell as the victim of a shooting that happened last Saturday on North Elamont Street, right near the Walbrook Shopping Center. Police actually heard the shots. Sewell was rushed to shock trauma where he died. Still no arrest in either case. Anyone with information on these shootings, call police or Metro Crime Stoppers at 1-866-7-LOCK-UP.
Baltimore County Police need your help locating this man. He is wanted for 5 robberies in the last 4 days. The crime spree began last Friday around 7 a.m. when the suspect, Eric Fleming, attempted to rob a Royal Farm store in Perry Hall.
Basically, he's walking in. He is attempting to buy a very cheap item, gum, a beverage, a donut. And then when the cashier opens up the register to make change for him, he's reaching over the counter and taking the cash out of it.
And Fleming went on to rob 2 other Royal Farm stores and a High's store in Dundalk. Police have obtained a warrant for his arrest but have not been able to locate him. He is considered armed and dangerous. If you see him or know where he is, call police. Baltimore was named the most dangerous city in America in a report by USA Today, beating cities like New Orleans, Detroit, Memphis.
Yeah, the newspaper analyzed all sorts of crime data from the country's 50 largest cities. This is not based on the total number of murders, but the per capita rate. Last year, Baltimore had 342 murders, which is 56 murders per 100,000 people. When you look at a city like Chicago with a bigger population, the city had 650 murders. Their per capita murder rate is about 24. Mayor Catherine Pugh and Police Commissioner Designate Daryl D'Souza attended a violence reduction initiative meeting today, and afterwards they were asked about the city's ranking, and they say, despite having the deadliest year in history, the city is actually seeing a reduction in crime in the last couple of months.
We're very much aware of what occurred in 2017, and it's our vision, the mayor's vision, and the police department's vision that we do not repeat what happened in 2017.
While we may be on the front page or topic of discussion with a particular newspaper or newspapers, I think we will also be on the minds of other organizations around how did we get to where we got in just a three-month period.
USA Today created the list based on FBI crime data, and the Bureau will release its own report later on this year.
In Annapolis, one lawmaker wants to honor his grandson's memory with a public safety bill. Delegate Talmadge Branch's grandson was shot and killed in Baltimore last year. Today, he introduced the Baltimore City Safe Streets Initiative. The legislation requests that the governor allocate $3.6 million in the annual state budget to help Baltimore set up safe streets programs in other parts of the city. Branch says the people who work in the program understand the culture of the streets and are willing to go into troubled neighborhoods and diffuse situations.
This is certainly something that's needed in the city. I don't think the budget should be an issue right now. I think when you weigh budget versus lives in the city of Baltimore, I think the lives of the city and the people of the city and the state comes first.
The Safe Streets program has seen some success. It has helped communities like McElderry Park cut down their crime rates.
Bershern Baker is the latest gubernatorial candidate to announce his choice for a lieutenant governor. Today he announced that Elizabeth Embry will be his running mate in this year's election. Embry is a former Baltimore prosecutor and division chief here in Maryland, the Attorney General's office. She grew up right here in Baltimore and moved back after graduating from Columbia Law School.
for everyone in Maryland. I bring deep experience in making communities safer and in making government more effective and making government work for the people. That is why I'm so
And Embry also ran for mayor in Baltimore in 2016.
And Baker is one of 8 Democrats competing for the nomination. Other candidates include Ralph Jaffe, Alec Ross, former NAACP President Ben Jealous, Baltimore County Executive Kevin Kamenetz, and State Senator Richard Madaleno. Businessman Jim Shea is also running. The only woman on the list is Krish Vignarajah, the former policy director for First Lady Michelle Obama. And the only Republican in the race right now is Governor Larry Hogan. The primaries will be held on June 26th.
And overall, our weather's still doing pretty good. Large area of high pressure influencing not only our skies, but also warming us up.
All right, we're counting down the days to Light City 2018. The theme of this year's festival is More Love, More Lights. This will be the festival's 3rd year here in our city. It'll be 3 weeks long, starting on April the 6th with an opening night parade and ending on April the 21st with a fireworks finale. Grand Master Flash, G-Love, and Special Sauce will be headlining the event. Festival hours are 7 o'clock at night to 11 at night, Sunday through Thursday, and 7 p.m. to midnight on Fridays and Saturdays. And for all the details on this year's Light City Festival, head to our website, abc2news.com.
Should be a good time.
Yeah.
All right, Americans waste a massive amount of food every year, yet there are tens of millions of people in this country who are struggling with hunger every day.
Yeah, one organization trying to fix all that with a tech-savvy twist. Here's ABC's Karen Travers with more. And food rescue is now operating in a dozen cities across the country, and over the next couple of weeks, several more will be up and running. And the possibilities for expansion are limitless as long as there are volunteers like Beth and Bob, because there'll always be people in need. All right, we've got a tremendous story coming up. A local choir uploaded a video of them singing a song to support the support for everybody in Florida.
Yeah, now they're here in our studio live. That's them right there. We'll catch up with them in just a bit. They'll even sing us that song. Don't go anywhere. You're watching ABC 2 News at 6. Record 10.
How about it? What a day. Michael Taylor, talk all you want.
Take it away.
Yeah, right. It was one of those forecasts where you can just talk on and on about the temperatures that are climbing up near the 80-degree mark.
Well, I'm here with the North Hartford Harmonics. 9 young people, 10 young people. The hearts broke last week with the hearts broken in Florida. They wanted to do something about it. Abigail, you were singing Imagine by John Lennon, and you went to Miss Angie and said what?
I put a text in the group chat that we had, and I said, hey guys, I really want to say something about this shooting. And then I went to her and I asked her if we could record it, and then I could put it on my Facebook and my Instagram and other social networks.
And it just exploded. How many on your Facebook page?
Right now it's already about 75,000.
Garrett, tell me about making this. Did you ever sound any better than doing it that night?
Everything was there. Our blend was very, we sounded really like one person. It just, our sound was really good.
All right, we've got to listen to them right now. This is the North Hartford Harmonics. This is a song for everybody. It's Imagine, John Lennon.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
greed or hunger, a brotherhood of men. Imagine other people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
Okay, it's pretty terrifying to think someone or something is peering into your home, especially in this case.
Check out this security camera footage outside a home in suburban Wisconsin. That is a 50-pound cougar. It goes right up to the front window and something catches its eye. Wildlife officials think that the cougar is about 1.5 years old.
Yeah, it ended up wandering away on its own, and this is one of several cougar sightings in that area over the last few months, and it could be the same one. Cougars are protected species, so it's not legal to shoot them unless authorities determine they pose a danger to people's lives, but he just looks like he's having a good time there, so.
You still have goosebumps from the choir?
I do. That was extraordinary. I think I want to hear them again, right?
Well, let's go. You're taking requests. North Hartford Harmonics, again, thanks for coming in, and what a difference tonight. Listen to them.
Come on, sing.
It doesn't matter if the days are long.
Sing.
It doesn't matter if the nights gone wrong.
Sing.
Just clap your hands and stomp your feet and sing it. Whoa.
You're watching the station that works for you. Now, ABC 2 News at 6.
One student is dead and 2 injured in a school shooting in southern Maryland. On ABC2's Brian Kubler, that story coming up next.
A couple inches on the ground here in Parkton, and the snow continues to fall. I'll show you the roads coming up.
Good evening. Welcome into ABC 2 News at 6 with Jamie Costello. I'm Kelly Swoop. We're working for you tonight following 2 major stories.
The spring is nowhere in sight, and we've had another school shooting here today. It is a very tough day, and this school shooting happened right in our own backyard. It happened at Great Mills High School, which is in southern Maryland, St. Mary's County. And that's where ABC 2 News' Brian Kubler is with the latest on this developing story at this hour. Brian?
Jamie, this school behind me over my shoulder here is still a little bit of a crime scene as they start to figure out what happened here this morning as a school shooting opened the school day here today. Police say 17-year-old student Austin Wyatt Rollins shot 2 students before a school resource officer shot him. Rollins was pronounced dead at an area hospital. The 14-year-old male that he shot is in stable condition, but the 16-year-old female does have life-threatening injuries tonight. The St. Mary's County Sheriff says Rollins and the female may have had a previous relationship, but said this is still a very active investigation. Police are looking at the shooter's home, his social media accounts, and are tracing that Glock semi-automatic pistol that he used, they say. Governor Larry Hogan said today no community should have to go through this.
No parent should ever have to worry about when they send their kids off in the morning to school, whether they're going to come home safely or not. And we need more than prayers. I want to thank these first responders and law enforcement officers for the job they did, but we need more. We've got to take action.
Meanwhile, this investigation continues. The St. Mary's County Sheriff's Department is asking anyone with photos or video of this morning's shooting to upload them to fbi.gov/Great Mills. The Sheriff's Office also released a picture of their deputy assigned to this school. This is Deputy First Class Blaine Gaskill, credited for ending the threat this morning by shooting and ultimately killing Austin Wyatt Rollins. Meanwhile, the superintendent of this district says this school will definitely be closed tomorrow and may remain closed for the rest of this week. For now, we are live in St. Mary's County this evening. Brian Kubler, ABC 2 News.
You can only imagine what it was like for parents this morning, terrified, rushing to Leonardtown High School to see if their children were okay. Anxiety all over their faces as they were treading through the mud and puddles. Police and flashing lights speckling the campus of the neighboring school. Officers directed parents where to go be reunited with their kids as they escorted them back to safety. They heard the horror of what unfolded as the first bell rang at Great Mills High.
I'm getting tons of texts from my friends. Did you guys hear that? Kia, are you okay? Are you safe? Did you hear the gunshot? What's happening? And it's like, I don't know, because I'm not even in the school and I don't know who of my friends are safe.
Kia Whitley was late to school and safe with her mother. Parents and students are saying more needs to be done to ensure school is a safe place where their kids can go and learn.
All right, starting tomorrow, there will be an increased police presence at schools in Carroll County until further notice. Deputies will be placed in public schools throughout the area for the remainder of the school year, while officials discuss the possibility of staffing a full school resource officer program. Now, this increased presence will be paid for by the Sheriff's Office, Carroll County Public Schools, and the Carroll County Commissioners.
We've been following this story since this morning. For the latest developments, head to our website. We'll find it all for you there at abc2news.com. And another developing story, you've been outside today, you already know the weather. We thought we would see some sunshine because today's the first day of spring, but I guess not.
And I guess not the groundhog again. Never mind. We have more weeks of winter, or days of winter, huh? We have team coverage tonight bringing you the very latest on the weather and the current conditions outside. So let's take a look right now. Meteorologist Mike Taylor in the Weather Center for a quick look at what we can expect tonight. Mike?
We'll have further details on where the forecast goes from here and also a look outside. Meteorologist Eric Taylor is standing by to give us the latest details. How's it looking out there, Eric?
Yeah, Mike, like we were saying, it's right on cue. We're starting to make that switch over to snow. You can actually see the big flakes falling here in the camera. It's also a little bit slick out here on the sidewalk, as well as many of the trees covered in a sheet of ice above. Now that leads to the concern here as we get that heavy snow in during the overnight hours. We could have some spotty power outage concerns along with that treacherous travel. So don't be alarmed if maybe your power goes out. I know a lot of folks don't want their power to go out because it's cold outside here on the first day of spring, but with the weight of some of that heavy snow, that will go from crunch pretty much to slush. And that weight that's on some of those branches could lead to some problems out here. So what we continue to see is a mixture of sleet. This is just the appetizer to what is actually to come with the main course.
Superintendent Eric Taylor, he's calling it already. Let's go out to Sykesville and Westminster and Gamber. You in Carroll County, man, you have been watching this snow all day long. Let's take a look at what you're watching right now out your front door. Yeah. Here you go. This is your main artery. This is 140 right through the heart of town here. And they're expecting a lot of snow out there. The plows had to play catch-up around school buses when classes dismissed about 3 hours early, and that added to the challenge.
Well, what happened today is the temperatures got down a lot quicker than they were supposed to. So now snow is laying on the streets and everywhere else that we weren't expecting at this point. But we're ahead of it right now. We have, I believe, 67 trucks out there, plowing roads and so forth. We're in phase 2 right now. Phase 1 was just a salting exercise, but because the temperature's dropping as quickly as they have, we're into the plowing part right now.
And listen, earlier this morning we had a loss of life. It was around 11 o'clock on Route 97 in Sykesville, and it was deadly. So please be very careful out there. And the northern part of our state is expected to get the worst of it, of course.
That's right, and continuing our team coverage, ABC2's Abby Isaacs live in Parkton with a taste of what they're getting out there. Abby, you were getting pounded earlier.
Yes, well, we have about 3 inches at least on the ground here in Parkton, and it's still coming down pretty hard, but the roads, thankfully, don't look as covered with snow. The plows have been able to do a pretty good job of salting and keeping the snow off, but there is still a little bit of snow on top of slush that was already on the roads before. Now, these road conditions causing multiple crashes. Earlier, we caught this one on Interstate 83. Baltimore County DPW crews are out in full force for the next 24 hours. So that's 400 employees running 400 trucks and other pieces of equipment to try and keep these roads safe to travel on. Now, some places in our area are expecting almost a foot of snow. And since it is officially the first day of spring, of course, there are some mixed feelings about it.
Oh, I'm from New England. I love the snow. I'm so glad we're finally getting some snow.
I thought we were going to get by this winter with not having any big snow amounts, but here we are.
I mean, it's kind of weird having all this snow on, what is it, March 20th?
It's Maryland. If you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes.
Well, the local market here in Parkton was also very busy this afternoon. A lot of people stocking up on the essentials, bread and milk, just in case they're getting snowed in overnight. Now, once again, just a quick check. The road's not looking too bad, but of course, people are taking it very slow here in Parkton as we already have about 3 inches of snow on the ground. Live in Parkton, Abby Isaacs, ABC 2 News.
Thank you, Abby. And those slushy conditions could very well turn icy as the temperatures drop overnight. And then as that snow ramps up, that could lead to even bigger problems. As we send things outside to ABC2's Skylar Henry, he's in the live drive Jeep with a look at current conditions. Skylar, you just got off at 695. How is the Beltway shaping up?
Well, Lauren, I can tell you that typically around this time, you never are able to get around the Beltway in about an hour, and we were able to do that in a little more than an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes or so. That's how clear the roadways are right now. We actually just got off of 695, as you mentioned, off of one of these side streets here, just kind of monitoring one of the neighborhood roads here. And as you can see, still pretty icy. And these are the type of roads that you all have been warning viewers about throughout the entire day here, because these are the roads that are probably some of them more last likely to be treated. And because of that, you're asked to stay inside, stay indoors if you do not need to come outside at all. Let's take some video that we shot earlier today. This is from State Highway Administration. No, we don't have that video, so we're going to continue to just talk about what we did. So we went down to Hanover earlier today to the State Highway Administration offices, and they were monitoring accidents and things like that. They said that they had to put a lot of resources out near Western Maryland just to deal with some of the more snowy conditions out that way. Take a listen to what they had to say.
Very different story in different parts of the state. So we have a tremendous amount of snow out in Western Maryland, northern tier, really across Harford County, Baltimore County, northern tier, up towards Cecil a little bit. You know, they have active snow, and we've been going for a couple hours now.
So we talked earlier about how the conditions changed from that crunchy rain to snow. We are now in conditions, we are right in the Baltimore County area where those conditions are now back to snow. So if you're out driving in these conditions, try to be as safe as possible. These roads are slippery in certain areas, especially as I mentioned before, or especially where they have these side streets and neighborhood areas. But if you make it onto this highway, they're clear now. But please take your time and drive carefully. We're rolling in the News Wrangler. I'm Skylar Henry, ABC 2 News. Guys, back to you.
Skylar, thank you. I want to thank Lauren Cook for coming in here tonight, helping us with the road. She's going home now. She'll be back on your TV at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. And with this blast of wintry weather, many of us are hoping we don't lose power again.
That's right, but BGE's prepared. They said it's closely monitoring the situation, and they are ready to respond. Coming up, we're taking a look at its plan this time around, and we wanted to know what customers can do to prepare their homes. We're going to tell you when we come right back. You know, these wintry storms could leave people in the cold and in the dark in the coming days.
Here we go again. BGE is bringing in extra crews if we lose our power. ABC 2's Eddie Kadam is working for you tonight. How will these storms affect trees and power lines again, Eddie?
Well, Jamie and Kelly, the actual snow that's coming down right now, it's more of an icy mix. It's kind of building up on this railing, as you can see here. And I want to show you, I've got a black glove on here, so you can kind of see the crystals hitting my glove and forming there. That's not going to cause that many problems for power lines and branches. Now, that'll be a different story tomorrow when that heavier snow, that's what's going to bring the branches down and cause a lot of outages. And another thing people need to be thinking about when they're going outside and looking at their houses, the gas and electric meters. Don't try to hit off the ice on them, because there's a good chance you could break the glass and that'll actually break the entire unit. Instead, just try to gently brush those off and clean them off with something gently. And of course, check on people who depend on electronics.
Check on loved ones who require medical equipment that utilizes electricity. So have a contingency plan in place for them. And just the simple things, having those non-perishable items, bottled water, flashlight, battery-operated radio, things of that nature.
Now, in the event of a power outage, they're going to go to places like hospitals and 911 centers first. So Be patient if you do end up losing power. I know it's not great in this cold to lose power, but they are going to work as hard as they can to get it as quickly as they possibly can back to you with those extra crews out. And if you do have an outage, report it as soon as you can. Call BGE or use their mobile app. We have a link to their mobile app on our website and their phone number on our website. That's abc2news.com. Live in Rogers Forge. Eddie Kadum, ABC 2 News.
You know, I'd envision a trip to Rita's today, you know, this first day of spring.
Nothing. You can scoop it out in your front lawn.
Put
some
food
syrup on
coloring.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll have one.
I just want to say, I know we're a week away from opening day, but down in Sarasota, they're under a tornado watch, so they're not getting a game in tonight.
This is a dynamic system. In
It's
fact,
part of the same storm.
Yeah, part of the same storm. And in fact, last night I was watching severe weather coverage in Alabama as this system was coming together. That's what we like to do. We like to see what these storms are doing as they're forming because it helps us to determine what it's going to do when it arrives here for us.
All right, that's it. We'll see you at 11.